Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock and this is City of Heroes. We are soloing the Stalker, level 46, heading to 47, 2.3 million XP to go to get to the next level. What I'm hoping is we get at least 2 story arcs done. We're on one right now for Tina McIntyre and we're partway through it. So we definitely should get that one done before 47, hopefully one more. And those two together ought to get us enough merits that we'll have 1200 and I will be able to get all of my ATOs. We also have Dr. Runes and we will begin level 47, my hope is, with 3 sets. And then the last 3 levels is character's life. You guys will get to see her with increasing numbers of powers having sets put on them as I can afford them. Um, and then somebody was saying that the enhancement converters are worth some good coin, so I can try vending those as well. I think they're worth like 100,000 each, so if there's 30 of them, that's like 3 million. It's not a huge amount. It's, maybe enough to buy a couple of recipes. But it's not bad. Okay, so we need to defeat antimatter in his clockwork, search the computer network. I don't know if we're going to actually face antimatter in here. If we are, it should actually be okay because these are mostly yellow cons. So we're going to we'll fight these guys because we have to click the glowy. So when there are glowies, we'll fight them. I'm going to skip the guys that don't have glowies around them because I really don't see a lot of point to fighting yellow cons. And in fact, watching back my last couple of episodes to figure out like what I wanted to title them and stuff, and make sure the audio was good and so forth. One of the things that I started thinking is I think we need to move this up to +3 because even the +2s, unless you're talking about an elite boss, they really don't do anything to me. They're just not much of a challenge. I was toying with maybe going up to +2 times 2 instead of +3. Could possibly do that. Right, but like, look. Single red lieutenant all by himself. One shot. Those are +2 lieutenants, right? Even those guys have no chance now. So I think we might need to... there's no point to doing it now because these missions are capped. So we'll just go through these, and then we got to get to our new contacts. Just defeat... Oh, so we are defeating antimatter, it looks like. There he is. Okay, so this actually probably is good that he's not too many... He's just +1 because he's going to be a pain. I don't know if I have the right inspirations to beat him. I think with Overload we probably can, but we're a little shy on endurance and a little heavy on luck. I don't know. Might be okay. I mean, if I'm going to be shy on something, endurance is alright because we can get it back with our own power. Why did it take me so long to defeat a yellow con? Give me a break. Oh, I see. They have a little bit of a self-heal. That's why. So when they should have been taken out, they still have a couple slivers left. Oh, I gotta zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. Antimatter's over there. He doesn't see me yet. We're gonna clean the room. What? Who just hit me? Or was it just a retaliation? We'll clean the room and then we'll go after antimatter. But you see how these guys just... It's not enough. We probably need to go up to +3 missions. And you can see that we're still, even with the bubble around her, we're still at, or him, it, whatever, we're still at almost 95% on most of our powers. I was going to wait until sets to go to +3, but maybe we should try it. The thing is, if we fight somebody like this at +3, we won't be able to beat him. Alright, overload. Pop this, and here we go. See how he does against us, or we do against him. He does have me be debuffed. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to assassinate him through it. I can. Oh, okay, yeah, he doesn't let you actually beat him in this mission. He teleports away. We had to fight him, I think, a couple of times in this story arc. Alright, and now we go to the next one, is to shut down the time accelerators. I wonder if this is the one where you go outside and you just hop around and click on some glowies, and then there's an optional guy to fight. One of them, I think, in this story arc is like that, but no, this is a city. I was thinking of one that's more like in a river or something. So we need 5 devices and defeat the clockwork leader. So that guy, I think maybe that's the guy I was thinking of at the back of this town. No, this isn't the one I'm thinking of. Let's see, is he here? Usually the bad guys are here, but I don't see one. There? Nope. There's a boss. Mega snap. Well, yeah. Oh, wait. Let's just hop around because we're going to run out of overload in a sec. We need 5 devices. There's one. So we'll click the devices and we'll come back to Mega Snap was around there. So let's turn these off because they're going to go anyway. We need super jump on. I just love the way hide works and how it's like literally the only toggle you want. If you want to just avoid aggro, it's literally the only one you need. It's awesome. Probably wildly OP, but that's okay. 3 to go. So guys, as we go, I wanted to talk about something. I don't know. I feel like companies end up frequently just utterly shooting themselves in the foot. Companies that have properties that have a huge number of fans, really devoted fans that are they're making fanfic and having conventions and dressing up in cosplay and like obsessively buying collectible items and stuff like that. And you have this wonderful gift of a fandom like that, which can just make you so much money. One of the companies that does a good job respecting their fandom is Pinnacle Games. They've just put out a 30th anniversary Kickstarter for Deadlands. It's not. I don't think it's going to do anything very new compared to what's currently in the rules. They're rearranging it. So one of the things they've done with some of their more recent settings is to include the Savage Worlds core rules, like with Pathfinder, in with the setting book. And so this way you don't have to actually buy the Savage Worlds core rules to play Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. It's built within there. And I think they've done that with a couple of their other setting books too. And so they've basically taken the Deadlands rules. They've got a core book that I guess has all of the player-facing information for Deadlands plus all the basic Savage Worlds rules. And then they have a GM's bestiary and adventure book and stuff for the game master. And as a Kickstarter person, you can buy one or the other. They also, super tempting for me, guys, but I'm not doing it. They also have the core book as a leather bound, and I love leather bound editions. I'm a huge fan, but it's like $200. No, I'm not paying $200 for a rule book I already have just to get it in leather. Because then the other thing is I'm never going to use it, right? If I buy a leather bound, I'm going to still use the old rulebook I have because I don't want to break the spine or, like overuse the leather bound, damage the pages, etc. It's so expensive that you don't want to use it. You just want to put it on the shelf. Well, $200 is a lot of money to just stick it on the shelf. And I bought some leather bounds of some novels by Brandon Sanderson because he does some pretty nice Kickstarters and stuff, and they do a nice job at Dragonsteel Press. But I actually read those novels. I did not buy a non-leather bound version of them, and I actually read them. And so yeah, I don't see myself probably getting it, but they do a nice job, and they also are putting out a 30th anniversary retrospective. This one's actually pretty cool, and I might try to get just the hardcover of that because I think it's only like $50. But what they're doing is it's just a history of how Deadlands was produced, the attempts they made to try and get TV shows and movies made about the setting, to hire authors to write stories, to hire artists to do comic books about Deadlands and stuff like that. They've they've been unsuccessful at most of these attempts, but the book just sort of chronicles their efforts to do this sort of stuff. Oh, I didn't mean to come down here. And that's actually quite interesting to me, and it's the sort of thing you can't find in a normal like game rule book and stuff. So they have a sense at Pinnacle of the kinds of things their fans are going to want, and they try to give it to us, which I like. But a lot of other companies, I think, in an effort to like guard their intellectual property and stuff, they really find ways to kind of repudiate the fans. And so I don't know how this ended up in my feed because I haven't been watching anything about Star Trek in I don't know how long. As far as I'm concerned, Star Trek ended with The Next Generation. I haven't really liked anything they've put out in Star Trek since, including the J.J. Abrams stuff. I think the first Star Trek movie was a great action movie, but it wasn't a good Star Trek movie, and everything since then has been just utter garbage. I didn't like Enterprise. I didn't like Voyager. I know a lot of people love it. I did not like Deep Space Nine. So I haven't been watching anything on YouTube about Star Trek, but somehow or other this popped up in my feed, maybe because it's about a fandom rather than Star Trek itself. And they were going through the history of fan-made TV shows and movies based on the original series. Like, so two different groups of fans at their own expense, and with the assistance of people like Walter Koenig and Nichelle Nichols and some of the actual people from Star Trek, and even Gene Roddenberry's son endorsed some of these. They made, the original Star Trek was a 5-year mission, and they only did 3 seasons, so they only did 3 of the 5 years. So what people have tried to do, I guess, is write stories that cover the remaining years. There are some novels that did this that were official, but no official TV shows, right? Because then they did Star Trek the Motion Picture, and they got into the movies and all the rest of it. And by the way, bit of trivia, Star Trek the Motion Picture was actually supposed to be a like 90-minute to 45-minute chunks plus commercials, a 2-hour TV movie, made for TV movie that was supposed to launch a new season of Star Trek, a new TV show. And when Paramount decided they didn't want to do the TV show, but they had the movie overwhelmingly shot, they cleaned it up, punched it up, added a little bit more material, and turned it into a motion picture rather than a TV first episode, right? Premiere episode, pilot, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, a group of fans in New York and a group of fans in Georgia sort of independently created these 2 new Star Trek shows. They did, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 episodes. Their goal being, let us try to create a fan-made version, right? They recast it with different actors, mostly amateur actors, but apparently they did a pretty good job playing Kirk and McCoy and Uhura and Scotty and Spock and all the rest. And this went on for some years uh, in the 2010s and teens, where they tried to create a new Star Trek. One group made a movie. What is it called? Star Trek Axanar or something, that's supposed to be about right before the time period before the show, the war between the Klingons of the Federation that led to the neutral zone that's showcased in the original series. And apparently these have all been very well received. Some of them received like awards at fan shows. One of them basically swept an entire set of awards at a con, right? Some sort of a big con, and like they basically swept all the awards. Um, and this was before Paramount had started making some of the newer shows that have come out in the last few years, like Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Discovery, and this stuff. So Paramount and CBS were just sitting on the property, not really doing anything with it in television, right? They had some movies, but they weren't doing anything with it in television. And so these fans created this stuff, and Paramount kind of ignored it until they got ready to launch their own. I think it was Star Trek Discovery, their own TV show, and then they, I guess, realized our TV show isn't going to be as good as this, and we can't have this competition, or people might actually prefer this fan-made stuff to our show. Instead of making their show better, they just issued cease and desist orders to the fans, the people who are making these shows and movies. And the stuff, I guess, got taken down. I know they threatened lawsuits, lawyers, etc. And these are just people doing this for free out of their love of the property. They don't have the money to fight a lawsuit like this. And so I was watching this video. I didn't watch the whole thing. And I thought, boy, companies really know how to destroy their own fandoms. And this is so stupid. I mean, D&D did it with the OGL scandal, right? And angered the entire fan base. You have these people who are loyal and dedicated, who are giving you, like, added up across all the people doing it, millions of dollars of fan money for buying things that are collectible, and getting really excited and making their own T-shirts and everything else. As a company, why would you step on that? These are the people who, if you do a good job on Star Trek Discovery, will watch it avidly. They'll watch every episode. They'll rewatch the episode. They'll buy the DVDs. They'll make YouTube commentary about it. All you got to do is put out a decent product, and these guys will basically be a critical mass that generates all kinds of fan interest in perpetuity, right? Pinnacle Games understands this. It's one of the reasons I love them. Pinnacle Games understands this. They know all they have to do is provide the fans with something the fans like, and we will set the word out and get everybody interested. And they funded their Kickstarter for the Deadlands 30th anniversary in like 45 minutes or something. They only asked for like, I don't know, it was a few $1,000s. They've got like $200,000 or something as the time of this recording, and they'll probably have twice that by the time the Kickstarter ends. Why? Because they respect their fans, they like their fans, they give their fans what they want, and when fans make cool things, they don't sue them, they support it. So like the Saving Throw channel, which did a bunch of different games, but they did Savage Worlds with Deadlands and then with ETU. Clint Black and Jody Black, the people who run the husband and wife team that runs Pinnacle now, those guys watched the show, donated to the show, gave them tips, like bit cheers or whatever you call it, through Twitch. They supported, and they even made Clint even made custom edges. Oh, we're gonna have to fight that guy. But let's see if we can fight Marauder first, because he's really tough. Is he over here? I thought he was over here. There he is. Okay. All right, we need to clear, and then we'll go after him. Yeah, so here's a fan-made show that's doing their game on air, and instead of like suing them, they supported it, right? And what happens? The show got me playing Savage Worlds, which means I bought a bunch of products from Pinnacle. Then I started running Deadlands with my friends, and that means they all bought the Savage Worlds core book, and some of them bought some Deadlands stuff, and some of them bought some other stuff, and they all bookmarked the Pinnacle website. And I just posted in our Discord, "Hey guys, I'm probably not going to get it because they already have the Deadlands stuff. But if you're interested, there's this Deadlands core package and all these other goodies on Kickstarter. If you're interested." And there's like a starter set and stuff, and those are actually a pretty good deal. Like, I'm not paying $200 for a leatherbound, but some of the base game rule prices are decent. Right? And some of them might buy it. The one guy said he would maybe like to run some Deadlands eventually. I think one of his concerns is I've read all the lore, but I'm like, I don't know. I can ignore that and just have fun. I don't know why, but I've had this idea for a long time. I think maybe because there was this nun-like character in the comic book Lazarus way back like 10 years ago when that comic was coming out by Greg Rucka and Michael Lark. But I have this idea that wouldn't be anything like that character because she was a little different from how I would picture playing my character. I have this idea for playing a blessed who's like a Catholic nun and carries around like rosary beads because you have to have like a holy symbol, and carries around a Bible and quotes from it and stuff like that. And I love the idea of maybe jotting down some biblical quotes that are potentially appropriate and then having her say them, in combat and stuff. I think that would be super fun. So I don't know. I'd be perfectly happy to play Deadlands, and I don't actually need it. It won't actually be spoilers for me to play it. I know the lore, but I mean, we all kind of know the lore now, right? Everybody knows about the Reckoners because one of the NPCs explained it to the players, and they're fighting the Reckoners now more directly, and so that's been spoiled kind of for everybody. You kind of only can play Deadlands once with the players not knowing who the Reckoners are. Once they find out who the Reckoners are, you're kind of, that's it, right? There's no coming back from that. So, but I would love to play Deadlands and not just run it. And so, I don't know, maybe he'll get it. But my point is that Deadlands is, Pinnacle's made, I don't know, several $100s off of us thanks to the ETU wildcard show and the Deadlands wildcard show, and I'm sure we're not the only group. My guess is they made tens of thousands of dollars by, instead of suing these guys for putting the game on the air, supporting them. Yeah, these companies, I remember there was some sort of it was a super something company. I can't remember what like Super Mufflers or something, and they had a little picture of a guy that was pretty much Superman, and DC sued them. Warner Brothers or whatever sued them, and you never get fans doing that. They beat up on this little local muffler business. I think it was Mufflers, whatever it was, because they had a picture of Superman and it wasn't licensed. And instead of coming in and saying, "Look, you can't have it unlicensed. We'll give you the license for $5. Put a little TM copyright notice under it, and we'll advertise your muffler shop in the back of our comic books," or something like that. Instead of working with them, they try to sue these people into the ground. I know you have to aggressively defend trademarks, but there has to be some sort of a middle ground where fandom is allowed. Anyway, we're fighting Marauder, so we got to concentrate a little bit on him here. I'm going to go ahead and pop Overload right away. We're going to grab some of this. 1, 2, this, and this. See how much we do to him. Not too bad. Not too bad. When I do a big hit like that and barely anything moves from his health bar, that's when I get worried. But Overload, I feel like Overload is should be called overpowered. This thing, 100% defense to some stuff. It's only 57 against Psionic, but even that's helping me against our little Psionic buddy here. Can we placate you? I guess I shouldn't have done that because now I'm going to have to hit him with Shadow Maul because the Assassin Strike isn't ready. But that's okay. This character, I have to tell you, against the really tough elite bosses, has generally been pretty good. This Overload really keeps the hit points up. The only boss that, like, I mean, obviously it doesn't work against Madam Mystery because that's a special case. But the only boss that I couldn't defend myself against was the stupid Envoy of Shadows. I hit the wrong thing. I wanted to hit this. See if we can assassinate him and get rid of him. Oh, he's in his resistance now. Yeah, he's a pain in the neck when he turns on his like invulnerability or whatever it is. Then you can't really do much to him. That's what makes this guy hard. But we get him down so far that it's not too bad. But look what we're doing. Look how little Shadow Maul is doing. And of course I missed with the big hit. Watch Shadow Maul. We're only doing 7-2, 7-2, 7-2. But we got him. And now it's just this little girl here. And she is going down. Mission completed. I'm pretty sure many of my other characters got defeated by him. However, keep in mind he was only a +1 boss. Elite boss. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I feel like a lot of these companies, they're so aggressively defending their IP that they don't realize that they're destroying their IP by taking off the fans. And I've said this before, like with Dungeons and Dragons. You want the fans to love your product, because if the fans love your product, then the product sort of has its own legs and will, the fans will generate the interest and generate the revenue for you through their excitement and the excitement that they then share with other people and the fan products that they share. I can't tell you how many different properties I have come to through finding some sort of a fan item that I enjoyed so much I said, let me check out the original property. And you can't do that if that can't happen if the companies are suing the fans into the ground. I mean, suing your own fans is not a good idea in my opinion. So I watched this video and I'm sitting there saying, like, these shows look so cool. They created these sets. William Shatner actually went onto the set, one of the sets, and said he sat in the captions chair and he said, this is the same proportions. This feels just like the chair that I sat in for all those years. And so why go after these people when all they're doing is creating something they love? And really, I think a lot of it is that these companies know that it's giving them, I think, beyond everything else, I know they're partially trying to defend their trademarks and stuff, but I think beyond everything else, these companies know the fans are creating something better than the company is, higher quality, and it's embarrassing that these fans with no budget, no money, no training have been able to create a TV show that is better than anything Paramount or CBS have been able to create in 25 years. That's embarrassing, right? D&D doesn't like it. Wizards of the Coast didn't like it that there were people making variants of D&D like Pathfinder 2 that are considered to be higher quality games than what Wizards of the Coast is producing itself. One of the things that Luke Hart raved about with Pathfinder was just the print quality of their books. And he just said, he showed it on air at one point. He said, the Pathfinder books have so much higher. This is the one mission I was talking about, by the way, where we find the little glowies. The Pathfinder books have so much higher quality than the D&D books. Several of my D&D books, I hardly use them because I use mostly electronic resources, and a couple of them the binding's falling apart. Like seriously, from flipping through it a few times, and so when the lower tier companies, when the private people who don't have any money and are just trying to create a fan product are creating a better quality product than a company like Wizards of the Coast or Paramount. That's embarrassing, I guess. And maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Like, one thing I would say to these companies is if this private group of people who made a 12 episode or something Star Trek TV show as fans in somebody's used car dealership, which is what they literally did. They built a set in a no longer operating former used car dealership. And if they can do a better TV show than you can do with $1 million or whatever it is an episode, the problem is not the fan made content. The problem is your show. And if a bunch of independent creators like Kelsey Dion all by herself can create um, a better game than Wizards of the Coast can create with all of the staff and all of the trademark properties they do have, that is not a Kelsey Dion problem. That is a Wizards of the Coast problem. And I will say, I will give NCSoft this. This is a fan-run server done entirely by enthusiasm and love of the fans. I'm looking to see if there's a boss here. I thought there was one over here. And NCSoft was smart enough to say, you guys can do it. Is there a badge up here? No. But I thought there was a boss over here. I was coming to look for him, but I guess not. Yep, so NCSoft did, I think, the right thing. I was shocked that they did it, right? One of the reasons I said it's never going to happen is because I see what these big companies do and what they're like and how they almost, and this is the problem, they almost are acting, in fact, in some cases they are acting as if the fans are their enemies. The fans are not their enemies. They're your greatest resource, I would say to these companies, if I could. Use them. Instead of suing people, just make sure there's a disclaimer that says this is not associated with Paramount in any way or something like that, right? That's what the original OGL said, and even the new one, right, where they gave it up into the Creative Commons, they just said you've got to put a little note on the front of your book saying this is not official content, right? Hey, superheroes. What level are these guys? I'm curious. 50 plus 1, okay. That means they've got some significant veteran levels and some significant enhancements. If you get purple enhancements, you get a level shift. Okay, we're just going to fight Neuron and Antimatter. We're not... Oh, this is a really tough one. Oh, you're coming with me? I wish I could sneak through without him, but he's going to follow me, isn't he? He's going to aggro everybody, and we're going to have to fight yellows. There was no way to avoid that, unfortunately. I don't think I can keep this guy alive, because if I keep him alive, he might be able to help me against Neuron. But look how fast the yellow cons took him down. So I don't think I'm going to be able to keep him alive. And we got a couple of lieutenants. Alright, well let me come in here and see if I can aggro these guys and try to keep my little helpers alive. Maybe they can help me against Neuron and Antimatter. I doubt it. I have no way to heal them. Well, let's make a little mini game out of it, guys, since we have to fight all these yellow cons. Let's see if we can keep these two alive. It's going to be hard because they're purposely targeting them. And you can see these guys are not very strong. This is not allowing me to assassinate because if I do... Oh gosh. Oh, okay, it's just a boss. I thought this is one of the EBs. If I assassinate, the amount of time it takes me to assassinate, I'm not going to draw enough aggro to keep it off of our friends. I'm switching targets to try and aggro them. I don't know if it's going to work. Stalkers have no easy way to draw aggro. And I think these guys are just going to aggro everything and probably get themselves killed. Yeah, see, they ran over here now. Yeah, so she's going to... One guy is gone. Yeah, so there's no way to keep them alive. So they're just going to have to... You know. Oh well. They're being silly blasters. Aggroing everything in sight. Look at, see? She's running over here and aggroing. Not even waiting. Here's another sergeant or somebody. There's no way for me to keep these two alive, so I'm just... I guess I'm going to give up. And I go back to just being a stalker. And if they want to aggro, they can aggro. So yeah. My feeling is that when they treat the fans like enemies, they've already lost. D&D did it with the OGL scandal. Hey, Wizards of the Coast did it again with Magic the Gathering, right? With the Pinkerton scandal. And I know I mentioned this at one point, but the guys at Magic the Gathering, there's Neuron. Oh, you guys are going to aggro everything, aren't you? The guys at Magic the Gathering sent some YouTuber who they were on good terms with. They accidentally sent him some cards, Magic cards that weren't ready for release yet, and he didn't realize that it was a mistake, and so he showed them on YouTube. And they apparently didn't want him to show them on YouTube. And as a consequence, let's see what we do against this guy. I guess we'll try Overload and see if we can beat him, and maybe these two can help us a little bit. I'll wait a sec to let him heal. Yeah, so what they did was they didn't just email him and say, give us the cards back. They sent Pinkerton agents to his house, threatening the man and his wife, and basically saying, give us the cards back and take your video down, or we're going to try and take you into the police, right? Scared the heck out of them, were incredibly rude and aggressive. Again, this guy is your biggest fan, and you just turned your biggest fan into an enemy. Not smart. All these guys are going to do is draw aggro, I'm sure. Maybe they can help me a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I was foolish. I didn't turn on Overload. Let's put on some luck. Put on this. I feel like I tried Neuron at one point with Quintessence Lass, and I got smacked around by him. Not happening this time. He's done. Thanks, guys. You guys actually did some good. And now we just have to defeat Antimatter. And he's right there. Okay, hang on. Hang on. These guys need their hit points to come up, because I do want them to help me. So, guys, I'm going to pause here, and I'll bring you guys back when their hit points have come back up. Alright, we're back. They're somewhat healed. I think healed enough. We're definitely going to do Overload now. Antimatter is only Level 47 still, so +1. And he's got one little helper we're not going to worry about. Oh, they're going to aggro him already, you idiots! Wow, what a long-range aggro. Oh, you guys. Okay, if you get yourselves killed, that's your problem. Yep, they got themselves killed. That's okay, though. Man, what long-range aggro. Placate. Assassinate. Gotcha. Man, I feel like this mission was way easier than it was for my previous characters. I bet it's because it's only on +1, essentially. Alright, so we got 30... Oh, only 35 reward merits, guys. So that means we need 43 more. One more story arc should do it. And we still have half a level to go, so I should be able to do one more story arc before we hit that level. So the question is, which contacts are this level for us? I think Maria, Harvey, Crimson. Although Crimson is going to give us Malta, which we've already done. I can't remember who Harvey Mailer sends us against. What does Unai send us against? I don't remember. Does he do Cray? Should just be one more story arc and we'll get enough reward merits to be fat and happy. Who are you sending us up against? Scientists with ruptures. Doesn't say who we're going to fight. Maybe it's Richter. Well, we don't have a story arc from him, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here, guys, for filming, and I will continue playing until we get on a story arc, and then I will bring you guys back for our hopefully final story arc without the sets, if it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'll just wait until we have sets and I can bring you guys back. I don't know how much you need to see. You've seen everything this character can do at this level and up to this level solo without sets, so maybe I'll just wait, and when we have the sets or we're ready to start the sets, I'll bring you guys back and show you that. I think that's what I'll do. So I'll see you then, guys, and until next time, I am Scrapper Lock, and this has been Soling the Stalker on City of Heroes.